The rituals that I present can help readers through challenging times, transformative times in their personal lives, maybe in their careers, in their marriage, whatever it could be. Maybe they're trying to heal from a past trauma that just has been gnawing at them for years, or an abusive situation, or looking to reconnect to their spiritual self, which is so important. And it seems to really be relevant these days. So the book is a map, okay? And it lays out breadcrumbs that the reader can take and taste, can try, and see if that resonates for them. It's not a one path fits all. It's their map to create for themselves.
Hey everyone, and welcome. I am Morgan Giss McDonald, founder and CEO of Paper Raven Books, and I have with us today a super special guest who is launching her brand new book, Unearthing You, a journey to finding and nurturing your true self. She is an author, she is a coach, she is a mindfulness and Qigong expert and instructor. Karen Schultz, thank you so much for being here.
Wow, terrific to be here. Thanks, Morgan.
I am so excited for this conversation today because, Karen, you are breaking open so many important conversations, especially for us women. I think your subtitle nails it right there, the journey to finding and nurturing your true self. And I'd love to know, Karen, just kind of from your perspective, like, what is this book about and who did you write it for?
Sure. The book is about taking the reader through a journey of discovery, basically. And that discovery includes some specific steps and techniques that support them along that journey. Most of us were never really taught techniques to get in touch with ourselves, to rely on our instinct and our intuition, and to allow ourselves to express our emotions and feel their emotions and try to understand our emotions and what we're feeling. And so this is a journey that gives the reader permission to do that and shows them ways that they may never have learned on how they can do that. So that's really the key of it. The rituals that I present can help readers through challenging times, transformative times in their personal lives, maybe in their careers, in their marriage, whatever it could be. Maybe they're trying to heal from a past trauma that just has been gnawing at them for years, or an abusive situation, or looking to reconnect to their spiritual self, which is so important. And it seems to really be relevant these days. So the book is a map, okay? And it lays out breadcrumbs that the reader can take and taste, can try, and see if that resonates for them. It's not a one path fits all. It's their map to create for themselves.
Oh, I love that so much. And you kind of, mentioned it, Karen, that like there's something especially now that feels so relevant. Like we really seem to be on this desire, we seem to be on this path where we're desiring more openness up to ourselves. And you said intuition and instinct. And what are you seeing and noticing, Karen, in your work with people? Like kind of why now? Why are we so tuned into this conversation now?
Yeah. I think a lot of people are feeling disenchanted, disengaged from society, from perhaps others. We've gone through so many traumatic events over the past couple of years that people seem to be asking, a lot more whys. And, what's the purpose? What's the meaning here on earth? What's the meaning of my life? And am I living it to my highest good and in a way that supports my values or reflects my values? And so I think that a lot of people are asking those questions right now. And again, most of us were never taught how to take that type of journey. And so with all of the lack of accountability that we're seeing out in society from, quote, leaders and others, I think it's a call for each of us to say, okay, wait a minute, I'm the leader of my journey, right? You really are. And I don't know that people always believe that. They were always looking for external validation about themselves, about their journey, about their purpose, about their careers, about who they should marry, how many kids they should have. And now is the time to say, you know what? Is this really working for me? You know, am I really as happy as I think I could be or should be? And so that, I think, is why now is so important. Because if we want to see real systemic change in the world, right, begins with each of us. And so in order for the changes that we all desire, and most of us, when it comes down, you cut through all of the BS and the politics and everything, most of us hold a lot of the same values, right? And so we need to get back to, what are my core values and how can I express those in my daily life? And how can I share more kindness and compassion to myself and to others in the world? And I think that's what we would need a whole lot of right now.
Yes, 100%. I'm just nodding along over here because I'm just like, yes, Karen, this is exactly what we need. Folks, if you're with us and you're nodding along, like, I want more of this kind of conversation, good news is you can actually grab a copy of Unearthing You for free today. We're so excited about launching this book with Karen. We have it on a free promotion. The ebook is free today. Go to paperravenbooks.com/unearthing you, all one word. That link is next to this video. So you just click that link. It'll take you right over to Amazon and you can grab the ebook for free. You can grab the physical version if you prefer that. But go ahead and do that today while you're here and while you're thinking about it and while we're running this kind of special promotion. And Karen, I'm curious, you sort of mentioned like, you know, that we're feeling a sense of like, okay, the leaders or folks who we thought were in leadership positions maybe are not, you know, leading us to the vision of the world that we had in mind. And so maybe it's kind of up to us to realize and accept and embrace our own leadership capabilities. Now, when you author a book, that is really stepping out, you know, in kind of a big way. When do you feel like you were going to make this shift and actually, you know, write this book that would become Unearthing You?
Wow. Well, I, of course, have gone on my own journey, and I'm still on my own journey, right? I had, you know, some traumatic events that had happened years ago in my life, and I needed to address those because those get stuck in our DNA. Those get stuck in our physical being and our mental and emotional being. And so you need to travel through those tough places in order to come out into the light, into the other side, into a better understanding of yourself. And so when I was on that path, you know, I probably accumulated over 100 books, watched thousands of videos, filled notebooks full of journal entries over the years, and tapped into using coaches, using therapists, using different healing modalities. And this was over an expanse of years. And so at the end of the day, I said to myself, boy, if only I had something that just distinctly, you know, put this into a very easy roadmap for others, that maybe they could get down that path a little quicker than I did. And that's the honest truth. I've always been someone who's enjoyed reading, enjoyed writing, and it was typically poetry for the most part, but I just felt called to share the knowledge that I had garnered from all of my research and my experiences, because one of my core values is to teach others. You know, it goes back to, I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't want to, show you what to do, but I can help teach you your options, because everyone is different. Options are terrific. Everybody needs options, because one might work for one person and another works terrific for somebody else. And so it was really my own healing journey, and talking to other people, talking to family members, being in social media to see what were the common themes, what was coming up. My students of my Qigong class, I always ask for feedback after every class. And so I continue to learn. And so through that continuum of learning, I'm like, maybe this will help someone else. Maybe this can get someone started on their own path. And that's for me, that's purposeful.
I think you're exactly right that there are so many books and courses and coaching and like different programs that you can investigate. And it's like, where do you even start? Like, how do you even know what your options are? I think that is a really fantastic point, because we're, in this like age of, the age of information, right? And knowledge. Like, well,
information overload.
Exactly. How can you curate this from real people, who have actually been through these experiences, have come across the other side, learned a lot along the way, and said, okay, here's some helpful, here's the roadmap, is the word that you've used, which I think is a fantastic word. And you did allude to the rituals that are in this book. Would you tell us a little bit about kind of like some of the practical pieces that inside the book for folks?
Sure. What I tried to do in this book is sort of make it a primer on some of what I believe to be core practices that could really support someone on their own journey. And those practices include mindfulness, which we hear a lot of these as buzzwords, but we don't really know what they mean or how to implement them. So I look at mindfulness, which is simply creating a greater sense of awareness of your surroundings, awareness of interactions, and awareness of oneself. And then I also walk the reader through various meditation techniques. And, a lot of people tend to shy away from meditation because, oh man, no, I can't do that. To sit for 15 minutes with crossed legs. That's not what meditation is. That's one form of meditation, but it's not all of meditation. And so I walk the reader through, here are some options. 5 minutes is terrific. You can do this. Walking meditations. You can stand and meditate. You can sit comfortably and meditate. You can lie down and meditate. And so I walk the reader through those options. And probably one that has been near and dear to me, because I do love to write, is journaling. And journaling is such an important process. And there's several different techniques on how to journal that may resonate differently for people. But there's so much information that you can gain by journaling, because you're pouring out your heart for you only, your eyes only, into whether it's a poem or drawings or writings or an essay, or maybe you're just venting, and that's okay too. But journaling can be so healing and therapeutic. And then there's a variety of other, what I call self-care rituals, which is, give yourself permission to focus on you, to take care of you, to put yourself first. No is an okay word. And so I walk you through various self-care techniques. Another is positive self-talk. So many times we, without even realizing, we put ourselves down, or we say negative things. We need to shift that into positive self-talk. And, I can do this. I may not get it right, but I can do this. And that's a critical component. And then because of some personal circumstances, I learned the real value of setting personal boundaries. This could be a topic unto itself, but I go over just some core concepts, give the reader something to think about. Here's where a boundary may be crossed. Are you supporting your own boundaries? And boundaries are really just a way for you to express, this is how I want and deserve and need to be treated. And so I walk you through the understanding of the value of boundaries. And then there's practices of gratitude. And that I do a lot in my journaling. At the end of the day, it might have been a shitty day. We all have them. But if you can find one or two things that you're grateful for, if that's your last thought at the end of the day or the first thing in the morning, that's a beautiful thing.
So what I love, Karen, and if you're still with us and like, I've heard about a lot of these things, but I don't really know how to do them. Like, how do people actually do this? Do they just sit down with a blank page and like start writing? Well, there are other options, if that type of journaling hasn't worked for you. I mean, Karen, you're giving us lots of different options. And these are like I would say they're emerging as really common practices, but they're almost so common that we're not really talking about the practical side. Like, what do you do when you sit down and meditate? What do you do when you sit down and practice mindfulness? What do you do when someone bumps up against your boundary? Like, what do you actually say and think and do? And how do you start to implement these things into your life? And so I think that's what's so amazing about Unearthing You, this book, is that you're really taking us kind of like by the hand and sort of saying, here's how you can do it. And of course, you're giving us stories, your own stories, and really kind of bringing us into these practices more deeply. So if you feel like you've heard all these buzzwords and you're like, I don't know how people do these, this is it. Grab a copy of Unearthing You. Go to paperravenbooks.com/unearthing you, all one word, link next to this video, and you can grab a copy today. So we do encourage you to do that while you're here and while you're listening. And Karen, just another question about kind of the writing process. You've said that you like to write. What would it like to sort of sit down and write this book?
Well, first off, it was very therapeutic. And not only that, but it made me really look at and evaluate what really is important, and what practices did I find useful to my emotional, spiritual, mental well-being. And it was a reinforcement to my own journey to sit down and actually digest through it. It also allowed me to go through all of those 100 journals that I have been writing for years. But that was a good thing because, through journal writing, you sort of see progression, see awareness start to come into play a little more, and things aren't quite as foggy as they were in the beginning. And so that was sort of the writing process for me. Rewriting, oh my God, right? Writing and rewriting and rewriting again, because, I want to say, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I think we all kind of have a little bit of that in us. But it's just really trying to hone in on what am I trying to say that is easily comprehensible to the reader. And the exercises that I chose to put in the book so that the reader kind of really is given a full menu of options and ways that they can, asking some questions so that they can then ponder and reflect on. And so it just incorporates everything that I had learned. And, I'm glad the book is over and finished and it's out to the world. But honestly, it's not going to deter me from continuing to write. I plan on coming out with another book in the future, because I think this is so valuable and so useful and so important.
Ah, thank you, Karen. Oh my gosh, this is a book for this generation. I mean, I so believe that like we are collectively looking for these journeys deeper into ourselves. And thank you, Karen, for giving us this roadmap, this menu of options, this practical, guide to rituals that you can actually put into your life that will change your life, and I think that's kind of where we started with this conversation, was like, we are seeing things and experiencing things that we kind of don't want, or we can envision something better, but how do we get to something better? How do we get to that place where we are peaceful and, speaking well to ourselves and centered and knowing what we want and how we want to be treated in the world? How do we actually get to those places? I mean, that's what Unearthing You is. And so thank you for writing this book for us.
It's been a pleasure. And I think, again, I'll just go back. I don't think we were taught this. I don't think by our parents, and it's no fault of theirs. They weren't taught it either. And so now, when we talked about this is the right time, I think that there's a greater awareness of everybody. And so they just maybe need a little coaching on how to get there and how to start. So I hope that this offers the reader those sort of options and support.
Yes. How to start your practice, how to deepen your practice. All of those are inside of this book, Unearthing You. You can grab a free copy today. Go to paperhavenbooks.com/unearthingyou, all one word. Click the link next to this video, takes you over to Amazon. You can grab the ebook for free today. You can grab a physical copy of the book if you prefer. And I would encourage you to go ahead and do that while you're here, while you're thinking about it. And if you know anyone in your life who, maybe wants to practice meditation or mindfulness or journaling, or, has talked to you about boundaries and how do I do this? This would be a fantastic way to support them. Tag them in this video, send this video to them, encourage them to go ahead and grab a copy of the book while it's free today. We really want to get this book into as many hands as possible. Really change lives, change the world, right?
Got to start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. So let's start with us, because we are the ones who are willing to change. Yes. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.